What's up, YouTube? I am here with Tom DEROY-JONES, and he made top 8 at the WCQ in Cardiff. It had 157 players, well, just under 160 players. It was 8 rounds of Swiss, and he managed to make it to the top 8, 6th place to be exact, with Flundereeze. It's a new deck. I believe he was the highest placing finisher with this deck list. With this archetype over the weekend, and it's the new format as well. So it's really good to get an insight of someone who had success with this specific deck. Tom, how are you doing?
Doing great. How are you, Jake?
Yeah, I'm not bad. Congratulations on your top 8.
Thank you very much.
How was the tournament?
It was a lot of fun. A lot of new decks this format to play against. Some I haven't played against before.
Yeah.
So it was quite a fun experience, and to do well with this deck, I didn't think I would, to be honest, but it pulled through for me today, or that day. So yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, you definitely did well. What was your overall record? Was it 6-1-1?
Yeah, it was 6-1-1.
That's impressive.
My loss was to Sword Soul, and I drew to Eldritch.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Fair enough. How are you finding the new format?
I think the Brave stuff is taking everything by storm right now. It seems to be being played in pretty much every deck.
Yep.
Flundereeze got the new spell card, which really boosts consistency and also playability to avoid negates and things like that. So it just allows us to keep playing through this format, really.
Yeah, just so you viewers know, Battle of Chaos was legal for this weekend. Flundereeze got a new ultra rare quick play spell, which lets you add a field spell or one of the names from the deck, right? And you have to banish one as well, don't you? And then you gain 500 life.
Yeah, banish one from hand or field as cost, and then you get to search for a field spell or any Flundereeze monster.
Great. Definitely a great card to add for consistency. All right, so let's get into the profile.
Sure thing. Monsters, pretty standard ratio still. 3 Robina.
Yep.
This one is the searcher for the smaller birds. Searches any level 4 or lower winged beast monster. So also searches Wind Barrier Statue, which is pretty much a big blowout still for most of the decks' format.
Yeah.
So that's still standard. And then you've got the 3 Eaglin, which searches out your level 7 or higher winged beasts. So more blowout cards for you there. This is all still standard. I wouldn't change the ratios there.
Yep.
Something that is a little different is 1 Stree and 1 token. Stree allows you to banish any card from either player's graveyard. So it came up very handy, banishing DPEs, Eldritch, any kind of cards that players rely on in their graveyard. It's a great banish. I've cut it down to most people play Stree at 2 because it's just a bit more consistency with smaller names, and it's slightly better than Token, which has a very limited effect to add back Flundereeze cards from your banish pile. Still important, you still need to run them, but I don't think 2 is necessary for Stree anymore, so I cut down to 1.
Okay.
Onto the bigger monsters. 2 Empen.
Yep.
Snarl is still not good this format. I have tested it. It didn't bring up results. There's been a bit of a debate on whether 2 Empen or 1 Empen is correct, but as proven to me in the regional, it was great to have the second for the grind games. I found out I was grinding quite a lot, especially playing mirror matches. Eldritch was quite a grind, and going second, sometimes you'd be grinding it out. So the second one came up a lot, and people still forget about its effect that special summon monsters in attack position cannot activate effects, which come up a lot because of people misplay. They summon their monster in attack position and oops.
Yeah.
The other big monsters is one Avian, one Mega Riser. Avian's just a strong negate, and then Riser just to loop cards back, stop your opponent's plays, still standard. And the one win barrier statue.
Yes, cards broken.
Which last round against Prank Kids Brave, game 1 I won, and then game 2 he set up a Battle Butler prep. So we had the field spell set, the fusion spell set, sorry, and monsters, and I just proceeded to normal summon win barrier statue as my first play, and yeah, I don't think he was expecting that. And then I just proceeded to combo off and take the game from there.
Wow.
So yeah, that was pretty big. Hand traps then, 3D shifter. It's insane card. Whenever you see it, drop it. Pretty much shuts down your opponent unless they had Lancia.
Yep.
Which unfortunately I did get Lancia twice on that, trying to resolve this, but it's still a really good card. Also helps banish all your stuff, which is great for adding back with the token.
Yeah, so one of the best hand traps, definitely for this deck. Any deck that can play Dimensional Shifter, guys, everyone who's watching this video, it really is. It does. Decks do struggle against it. It does slow a lot of decks down. It gives rogue decks and slower decks an opportunity to just to build momentum and allow them to set up and take on combo decks. So this is definitely a card I would look at moving forward. But yeah, very powerful card.
Yeah, especially this deck, which doesn't use its graveyard at all. It's all banish. Then the last monster hand trap I played was 2 Ash. These are kind of like flex spots, my hand traps.
Okay.
So
were you at 38 then, and you just decided to add in 2 Ash?
But I got, and then I've also got 2 Imperm.
Okay.
These are the hand traps that still work under D-Shifter.
Yep.
That I can main deck, and they're still impactful enough. So yeah, 2 Ash and 2 Imperm. These are kind of like my flex spots.
Nice.
So just wanted a nice.
And how did you find these hand traps in the new format? In this deck,
Ash is still a decent card to, especially like PK to stop the Bardiche. I found this really good. Imperm I used quite a bit on opponents' Brave negate, so just stop that and then just be able to do plays. So yeah, they did come up.
Okay.
I'd still play hand traps in this deck.
Fair.
That's all the monsters. I think it's 18 monsters.
18 monsters.
Yeah. Spells. The best field spell in the game. 3 Magnificent Map. So you reveal a monster, banish a Flundereeze card with a different name from your deck, any Flundereeze card, and then you can immediately normal summon. So this gives you an additional normal summon for the turn. Allows you to chain block your opponent's Ash, and then during your opponent's turn, if they normal summon, then you can normal summon again. So just do your plays all over again. The new cards, 3 Advent. This is an absolute necessity at 3. It was really good just for chain block purposes, dodging Veilers, Imperms. Changed it to a Lancia once as well, which was fun, just so I could play. But yeah, banish a winged beast from your hand or face up field as cost, and then add a Flundereeze monster or field spell from your deck to your hand, and gain 500 life, which come up for an unfortunate Brave Phantom Knight player I came across, where I scooped game 2 and then we went into game 3 and it was about 2 minutes left of time, and I just needed to see Advent, activate it, and win in time. So thanks,
Nice.
Konami, for giving Flundereeze a win condition in time. And then the one unexplored wins. It's not as impactful. People were considering, from what I've read, bumping up to 2 or 3 just for like going second. So tributing away problem cards, but it's nice to have.
Yep.
It does come up if you open it, but you never really search it, so it stays at 1. The draw effect is pretty good in the grind game. Allowed me to draw into my side deck cards, especially against Eldritch, trying to get rid of the floodgates. It was useful for that, but not otherwise. I wouldn't cut it, but it's not as impactful. Consistency cards, 3 prosperity.
Lovely.
And 3 duality.
It's nice that you can play both in the same turn.
Yeah, absolutely. A budget option you can play is also Extravagance, but you can't seem to play both of those in the same turn unless you activate Extravagance first. Searching 6 cards through your deck instead of just drawing 2 is obviously a lot better. Just to dig deeper, find any card you need. So yeah, nice. Prosperity is a massive good card for this deck because you don't need your extra deck.
Did you ever use it at all, your extra deck?
I never went into my extra deck to make anything. I do have options for it, which I will go into. But it's mostly just for Cherry's targets.
Nice.
2 Book of Moon. Bumped this down from 3 because of the release of Advent, but it's still a good card. Still for baiting out negates. I think it was against like prank kids as well. It was just normal summon, book their monster. They still don't like that. So I've cut it down from 2 because I don't want to see it too much, but because of Advent, but it's still a good card. The singles, the Call by the Grave, hand traps, terraforming, see that field spell, and Gold Sarcophagus. Funny enough, I used it against my Eldritch matchup to banish Harpy's Feather Duster to grab it in 2 turns time.
Oh, so you use the old school method.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was just, the game was such a grind. I already banished both his, he'd used all his Sanguines already, and he'd already had a banished Golden Lord, so he's pretty much trying to win the game through Floodgates and Conquistador attack monsters.
Nice.
So trying to get rid of the Floodgates.
Okay.
And then the traps, apart from the 2 Imperm, I'm playing 2 of the Dream in Town. Bump this up from 1 to 2 to test it. Kind of wanted to see it a little bit more in opening hands, just because of how good it is. Just the additional normal summon allowed me to search for maybe Advent or something instead of Empen in your first turn combo. And the banish effect is still really good. Banish it from grave when you tribute summon a winged beast to book all your opponent's monsters. It's still a really good effect, and I think a lot of people still forget about that effect.
Yeah, I'm sure, because this deck's quite under the radar right now. Not everyone knows what it does, so that gives you even more of an advantage in tournaments, especially regionals. Yeah,
I think when it came out originally, it was probably a very popular deck along with Sword Soul. But then just kind of fell off the radar a little bit. Sword Soul turned out to be a better deck. It still is a better deck. I think Sword Soul is this deck's worst matchup, personally. Because what's the word? Sword Soul has
Sword Soul's it's not good enough against this because it needs to special summon. You can book them in the monsters, and it lets you just set up. And it needs its graveyard, so Dimensional Shifter will actually just punish it. But how many cards do you main?
This is 40 card main deck.
All right, nice. With 6 pots, like it. Okay, let's go into the extra deck.
Extra deck. I'll go through the cards that I would play. So cards that I would consider going into is the Lyrilisque Assembled Nightingale, just to go into your Zeus.
Yep.
And then the other one card is the Promenade Thrush, which allows you to bounce back a spell or trap that your opponent controls into the deck. So the idea of this is to try and bounce opponent's floodgates.
Yep.
Most of the time.
Okay.
But I never went into them. Didn't need to.
Right.
The rest then, 1 DPE, Mechaba, Entis, Omega, Chichao, Cyber Dragon Nova, Kagari, Hieratic Seal. I did manage to cherries this against a Dragon Link player round 1. He was not very happy. Ferjits and Omen. These two you can still go into. The Bardiche and the Prankids Dodo Doodle Doo.
Nice.
So not only were these cherries target, most of these were also, in case you played against Invoked.
Yeah. Get benefits from Atis and Shireg and Ferrigit.
Yeah.
And Omega Raven as well. Yeah. Right, nice. Now for the side deck.
Side deck, Dark Simorgh.
Okay, how's this?
I'm going to cut it.
Yep.
It wasn't impactful.
Okay.
If you're going to use it, you have to use it. You have to go first. You have to make this first turn.
Yep.
And then sometimes you've just got no follow-up. So by then it's too late. I had a funny ruling issue with it. I had this on the field alongside Avian and Empen. My opponent flips Gozen match.
Yeah.
So we had a funny ruling: is that does the Dark Simorgh go to the graveyard because while face on the field is considered a wind attribute?
Okay.
So we had a funny ruling. Eventually ruled that it does go to the graveyard because of its dark attributes. Can't be both. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I cut Dark Simorgh. I'd probably play Red Reboot, I think.
Yeah.
Seems a bit better. My favourite card, Ghost Reaper with the cherries.
Nice.
Yeah. Very impactful. The Dragon Link player round 1, he wasn't happy. I also used it against opponent's DPE. He made Anaconda.
Yeah.
Paid cost. I chained cherries. DPE.
Nice.
So bit of blowout. I won that game as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Imagine, yeah.
If you see cherries, it was very good. I was glad to always see cherries in my opening hand.
Nice.
Dark Runa no more, 3 of them.
Yep.
This deck can't play Droplet, unfortunately. I love Droplet. Droplet's a very good card, but you can't play Droplet in this deck as much as I tried.
Why is that?
Because you're sending cards to your graveyard. You don't want to do that because you play with your banished pals. So sending your little birds to the graveyard is not good for you. They don't do anything in the graveyard.
Okay.
Need them banished. So Dark Ruler was a much better option.
I'm sure the Legion players would be glad to hear that as well, because droplets are pretty expensive right now. Yeah,
not only they're expensive, but yeah, this is a much cheaper, and this is better in this deck than Droplet. Then I got the 1 Harpies, 2 Lightning Storm, and 2 Cosmic for back row decks. Also the Mirror.
Yep. Was these good?
I was playing 1 Harpies, 3 Lightning Storm, but I don't know why, but I've just had this feeling that players were going to side, what's the one that you activate is you've got to set all your spells. Anti-spell fragrance, So I was a bit scared of anti-spell, so I decided to put 2 Cosmic in as well.
Yeah.
But it was a good ratio.
Nice.
I liked it. And the last card, 3D barriers, dimensional barrier.
Okay, nice.
Sword Soul mostly because that's my least favorite matchup.
Yep.
So just wanted that card. Sadly, only played one Sword Soul, and lost. But yeah, I'd still play D Barrier. The only change I'd probably make is the Dark Simorgh for either Red Reboot or another card.
Fair enough. All right, Tom, thank you very much for the deck profile. Do you have any shout outs that you'd like to give?
Yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to Bradley Hayward, who let me borrow the Advents because I wasn't able to pick them up in time in the post. So he came down and gave them to me to play. Shout out to Alex Quarterly, who comes down with me to the regional. Shout out to all the Cardiff and Newport Firestorm boys.
Yep.
Shout out to Jake Quincy for letting me feature this deck profile on his channel.
You're welcome.
And shout out to the Flundereeze Duelists page on Facebook, who helped me build this deck.
Nice. Oh, thank you, Tom, for the deck profile. I'm glad you're enjoying the deck, and congrats again on your 6th place regional finish at the 157 player WCQ in Cardiff.
Thanks, Jake.